So in my childhood, I used to play a game called Crazy Taxi. It was this fast-paced, fun taxi game, and I've always loved it as a child. So recently, I got this idea: why not I make a game like Crazy Taxi, but instead of a taxi, it's an auto rickshaw. Auto rickshaw is same like taxi, except it's cheaper, and it's used by the common people of India, including myself. So in the game, you have to cruise through the busy Indian streets and drop your customer before the time runs out. There would be a lot of obstacles in the street. Maybe a cow tried to block your road. Anything can happen. It's the streets of India. So let's see if we can make a game like that. I'm gonna be using Unity 6 and also ChatGPT support to help me code the game. So let's get into it. First of all, let's create a project. I'm gonna name it Crazy Auto. I know, very innovative. Let's start by creating a ground for our auto. I'm gonna be using this auto rickshaw model I got from Sketchfab. It looks pretty good. Let's just make the glass transparent. Alright, now it looks perfect. The tire models are rotating correctly. Now let's head over to our dear friend ChatGPT. Hey yo, what's up ChatGPT?
What's up, baby girl?
So I want to make an auto-rickshaw simulator in Unity. Tell me how to set it up. So first it tells me to make sure the origin is at the right place so that the center of mass is equally distributed. I just created a parent object and made sure it is perfectly at the center of the auto. Then I added a rigid body as ChatGPT said, because without that the physics won't work as it is a moving object. All moving objects require rigid body component. Then I set up a wheel collider object for the tires. I made sure they're the same size as the tires. And then ChatGPT gave me the script for the auto rickshaw. Let's assign this script to our game object. And then I dragged all the wheel colliders and the models of the tires. Okay, I've set everything up. Now let's play the game. What the hell? Let me disable the script and play again. Okay, it still happens, so I guess it's not the fault of the script.
2 hours later.
Okay, so I found out the solution. It's because I added the wheel colliders, but I hadn't added a collider to the body of the vehicle. And now when I press play, the auto actually stands still. Good. Now let's enable the script again. Okay, now our auto is moving, but wait. I don't think tires are supposed to work that way. So let me go and fix the origin of the tires. It was in the wrong axis. I made sure the forward axis is the Z axis. Then I did the same for all the tires. And now as you can see, our auto is moving perfectly. This is how an auto rickshaw is supposed to run. Now let's ask ChatGPT to create a camera script. And now we have a camera that follows around auto. Right now our auto is a bit too difficult to control. So I asked ChatGPT to make some alterations to the code so that the auto is a bit more easier to control. Now we need a driver for our auto. So let's head over to Mixamo and find a rigged model. I think this guy is perfect. Let's download him. Now if you don't know, autos have a handle instead of a steering. So I could not find a good riding animation for the driver in Mixamo. Seems like I have to create the driving animation myself. Before that, let me change his texture a bit, make him look like an auto driver. Don't mind the model looking too oily. I don't know why, but Blender likes to put a lot of baby oil on my models, but Unity removes them, so no problem. Okay, now he looks like an auto driver. So I imported the auto model inside the Blender so I can create the driving animation properly. Alright, so there we have the driving animation. I also created a thumbs up animation. This is like a thank you to the customer. And then I added the driver to Unity, and now you can see he's driving the vehicle, but we can't actually see him. So I added the mouse movement to the camera script, and now we can see him properly. So one problem with our auto is the physics. Unity's wheel physics isn't actually designed for a three-wheeler. So whenever we take a big turn, the auto flips down. This is gonna make the driving almost unplayable. So the solution I came up for this problem is by adding two wheel colliders in front. There's only one tire visible, but there's actually two wheel colliders on either sides, and the tire is in between. This makes the auto move like a four-wheeler, so there won't be a flipping over problem. After slight more adjustment, the auto part was done. Now our auto rickshaw is working properly. Now the next thing we need to add is the customers. So then I head over to Mixamo and I found this female character. She's gonna be our girlfriend, our customer. I found this waving animation for her, so this is how she's gonna call us out on the streets. I want to create an animation of her getting inside the auto, so let's make that. Okay, I gotta be honest, I'm not that good at animation. I'm trying my best, so bear with me. Okay, I think it's good enough. Here we have the get in animation, and then I'm gonna reverse these frames and make it a new animation called get out animation. I downloaded this animation. This is gonna play after she gets out, so it's like she's paying from her mobile. Now I have added the customer to Unity. I'm gonna name her customer. I gave her the animator component and added the animation. Now you can see that she's waving at us, but I didn't give any collider, so there's no physics for her. So I want the customer to keep looking at the auto. So I asked ChatGPT to create a customer script. Now my customer is looking at me. Now we have to make our customer sit inside our auto. So I created a trigger for the customer. Once the auto enters inside the customer's trigger and it stops moving, then the customer can play the get in animation and get inside the auto. Okay, so now when I go near her,
Nope.
wait, what? Okay, she wasn't able to enter inside because she was having a collider. So the first thing we need to do is turn off the collider when she gets in. And now you can see, ladies and gentlemen, she just got inside our auto. We just got ourselves our first customer. Now let's give her a ride. Whoops, I think we dropped our customer while entering auto. Set the auto rickshaw as the parent. Alright, now our customer is sitting inside and let's give her a wonderful time. Oops, sorry madam. Now we have to drop this customer at certain places because that's what autos do or taxis do. So I'm gonna create an array of drop-off locations and these are just gonna be some transforms. So once the customer gets inside the auto, he or she is gonna select a random position to drop off, and then when we reach near that location and the auto slows down, the customer can get outside. I just created a few empty objects to act as the drop-off locations. I also added the box mesh component to it so that they're visible in the game right now because I'm just testing it. In the final game, this will be a real location so the player can actually understand where they are. I added the get out animation in the animator of the customer, and then I also made a trigger to get out, and now you can see the customer reached a spot and she got out, but I think she liked the auto too much. She doesn't want to leave now. Let's just set her parent as null. Now you can see that she got off her location and she leaves us alone. I kind of miss her now. And now we want the player to have some indication to show where the target is. Now I am too lazy to make a mini map, so let's just make a compass just like how it was in Crazy Taxi. For that we have to make an arrow model inside Blender, and I gotta say this was the hardest thing I had made in Blender. So guys, please support my channel for all the hard work I am doing. Then I added the arrow model to Unity and I told ChatGPT to make the arrow script, and now you can see our arrow is working. It shows us where to go. Now I want the arrow to look like a 2D object even though it's 3D, so I want to remove all the shadows and all the effects from it. ChatGPT told me to change the shader and I did so, and now it looks like a 2D object. One thing you might have noticed is how the customer changes her position abruptly when you pick her up. So this doesn't look good. So in a situation like this, most game developers just move the character to the position he wants to go by playing the walking or running animation. But nah, I'm too lazy for that. I'm just gonna change the camera angle and nobody's gonna know a thing. So I added 3 cameras beside the auto, and when a customer enters or exits, one of the 3 cameras will be shown. So if you ever come across a situation like this, just change the camera angle and nobody will know. And now we have a fully working customer, so let's just add a bit more of these customers throughout this area and see how it goes. There you go. Now we have a lot of customers, but now one problem we're gonna face is that you can actually pick up another customer when we are already traveling with a customer. This shouldn't happen, so I added a bool called for hire. When a customer gets inside, this becomes false, so another customer cannot enter. And finally, I'd like to add the thumbs up animation that we made in the beginning when a customer exits the auto. And there you go, we have made a fully functioning auto and customer system. This is the prototype for our game. Next up, I'd like to add an actual city to the game where we can drive around and pick customers, and also add a payment system for it where you actually earn money after dropping a customer. So yeah, hope you liked this video and stay tuned for the part 2. Subscribe if you like my content. See you guys in the next video.